We're going to start the meeting just so I know we have some East Coast people here, so we want to do that to be on time. I'm Steve Beresin. Today we're going to do three things. I see Jim Carbonetti there. Hi, Jim. Jim's a very good friend of Chris Olson.
Yep, still am.
Jim, what time zone are you in?
I'm in Pacific.
Pacific? Okay, we're going to start with, we're going to go over some things for our 3D-Con, which the people there are in the East, so we're going to do that first. Then we're going to go right over to you and do kind of a little memorial for Chris Olson, former club president. I have the photos you sent me, or you can share and show them yourself. Plus, we have some from our library. And then, if time permitting, we're going to go over some 3D news things. And then we're going to go over the workshops, David Richardson's, and I have a workshop for 3D telephone. So what we'll do is we're going to start off with a video for 3D-Con. Just to let you know, I'm the chairman of the 3D-Con. Dave's the coordinator, program director, not program director, Eric's program director. And so I'm going to be, we're kind of letting the guests talk, and then I'm going to be talking at the next New York meeting, which they're having in a month. Thank you.
You want to give the signal to let people in?
Yes, the live stream is live, so you can go ahead.
Here we go. Here's the screen. And all right, and they're in.
I am thrilled to welcome you to the first ever virtual NSA 3D Con.
Making modern stereo cards, I find a fascinating topic.
Topic for today is Photoshop layers for easier adjustments and composites.
You can check out immersive photography. You can see these things without having to spend a fortune.
The people that use this method, they say they see no problems and they're happy, so that's all that counts.
In 1974, American photographer Stephen Shore spent 2 months making stereographs with the Stereo Realist camera.
Today I'm going to use old stereo views of alpine glaciers to highlight the impact of global warming.
My presentation is about a series of computer graphics by the Hungarian artist Tomáš Walicki.
Hello.
It was almost like being there, yes.
Hi. Are you a happy face emoji with Anna Club glasses on?
Some of them seemed intense.
Guys, thank you so much. Virtual 3D Con, Dave, that's right.
Everybody can unmute for applause.
Well done. Very good.
Very nice, yeah. A lot of got some definite pace to it, you know.
Yeah. And I don't think Christian, who did that, is here, but we have Gordon did our the logo. He's there. Hey, Gordon.
Hi. Well, Eric did the stereoscope logo, but I did the Zoom graphic. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Let's highlight Dave Camo. Yeah.
So basically, you just come in here, you click in register. We're doing it in Eventbrite. You go in here and you just change and you say, hey, I want to register, and then you can click to check out. If you want to get the souvenir packet, you can also come down here. You can choose the US or the international shipping. And here's a nice picture of the information that you get in the packet. You get the Steampunk Light Owl viewer. It's $30 for the base US packet. You get a L'Oreal Pixie 3D viewer, the Gunnar high quality glasses, and also the Viewmaster reel, and also the glasses. So it's a great value for 30 bucks. So we definitely recommend you get one or several. So you can choose the base, and then you up here, choose the free, and then you can choose your add-on on here. Choose one or multiple. And then you just click and check out. And if you have an Eventbrite, you can log in, and we'll send you more information about the convention. Or you can just check out as a guest and just give it an email, and you're good to go. That's the registration. So I'm the technical director this year again. So I'm just sharing the website up here.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna paste it in the chat as well. So all of the submissions, call for submissions are out there. If you're interested in the 3D-Con, you can go to register, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. We'll just, actually I can talk about it now. So I think this is live just as we speak. It's pretty much similar to last year. We have a bunch of interesting souvenir items in the souvenir packet that are totally well worth your time. There are some nice pictures later on. We're going to add the picture onto this page and possibly have a little video that talks about what the information that's in the packets. So if you want to attend, we really recommend that you go here and sign up so that you're in the loop and you get all the emails to talk about how to access the information. And thanks to Eric and David Kuntz who set this up. So basically, you just come in here, you click in register. We're doing it in Eventbrite. You go in here and you just change and you say, hey, I want to register, and then you can click to check out. If you want to get the souvenir packet, you can also come down here. You can choose the US or the international shipping. And here's a nice picture of the information that you get in the packet. You get the Steampunk Light Owl viewer. It's $30 for the base US packet. You get a L'Oreal Pixie 3D viewer, the Gunnar high quality glasses, and also the Viewmaster reel, and also the glasses. So it's a great value for 30 bucks. So we definitely recommend you get one or several. So you can choose the base, and then you up here, choose the free, and then you can choose your add-on on here. Choose one or multiple. And then you just click and check out. And if you have an Eventbrite, you can log in, and we'll send you more information about the convention. Or you can just check out as a guest and just give it an email, and you're good to go. That's the registration. I'm just gonna real quick go through these different bits. So there's the art gallery. If you have any kind of a web page and you're interested in being on a virtual art gallery, you can send an email, send a form to Claire, who's running it here. So read the information. We're also going to be in VR. So potentially if you have something that you want to have in VR, we can look to accommodate that. Jim Harp is handling that, and there's a virtual reality tab. And we have an alt space room where if you have a VR headset, you can go and look at actual 3D things, 3D images in real 3D. There's the 3D theater, which Eric is running. So if you have a proposal for the stereo theater, come here. And I think the deadline is in about a month. So do it quick. Taking submissions for workshops and special interest groups. So here's the proposal you can click on here if you want to perform a workshop. I know those are filling up fast, so click in on there. We're having the sessions on the history of stereoscopic photography with Melody Davis. That's already been set in stone. I think there's 8 or 10 different scholarly speakers that are going to happen. There are some competitions. So you have a 3D digital image showcase. Send your best images there with this form, or there's also a stereo view competition for modern vintage. You can click here for more details. A trade fair. We're going to have information online. There's also going to be a gather town room, which is much like the High Fidelity last time, where you can wander around and you can talk to people and you can click to view different stereo imagery. VR I mentioned, you can click here to see more information. Press kit, if you're in some other clubs and you want to use the promotional video, there's a link here to download it. There's also, it's on the YouTube in side by side of Anaglyph. You can get the images, Gordon's and Eric's here if you want to use them somewhere. If you have any questions, send a message over to us here at the link. And then we also have a Facebook group and Twitter and Instagram. That sounds about it. Does Eric or Steve, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would definitely, can people see me? Definitely do this. I did it last year. I was not involved in it at all. So this year, what I wanted to do is just make it a little better than last year, but it was, as far as I'm concerned, it was almost perfect last year, which is why you'll see a lot of the same people on the contact board. So the same people did it last year, doing it this year. I've already seen who's going to be on the stereoscopic sessions. There's a lot of really excellent, interesting things, even just going for that. And then I'm sure Eric has a lot of really good shows. We have good social hour coming. The social hour is going to be kind of different, something different this year. I think that was mentioned, but it's Gather Town, which is more interactive, and it's a lot of fun. So I definitely get in, and plus as Dave said, the packaging is very nice. And actually, David Koontz has what's going to be in the package. It might be a good idea now to spotlight David Koontz, and he actually has the objects in front of him, I believe.
All right, so there is quite a bit in that souvenir packet this year, more than ever before. First, you get count them, two pair of 3D glasses, both the Real D circular polarized and the standard Anaglyph. Of course, I don't know how well you can see it. And so yeah, I riffed off of the that whole Zoom session motif that he had come up with to begin with for the glasses, and then expanded on it for the graphic itself. And it's got faces that may be familiar to you and some that may not. And then, of course, everyone who is on it is listed in extraordinarily small type on the back. And while we're on the subject of Gordon's graphics, hey, here they are again. This is the Souvenir Viewmaster reel that was made for us by Image 3D very generously. So like I see, you've got Gordon on the front without my nose. On the back, you have the listing of the images that are in it, which are all great. They're some of the winners from the 2020 Digital Image Showcase. Of course, we can't show you this year's winners because the competition hasn't been had yet. So you open that sucker up and you get the Zoom.
I think this is one of the best reels we've ever done.
It's a great reel. It's funny because when I looked at it, I thought maybe we should just do this every year, just have the Digital Image Showcase because they're really good. And then here's the reel, which I don't know if you can see. It's got that same motif for the center artwork. Most definitely, they're all stellar images. They were the top images submitted for that digital image showcase.
Yeah, David Hazan had an image there that just
It's wonderful.
It was incredible.
And next up is the steampunk light owl viewer. It seems like my camera keeps struggling to focus, so hopefully you can see this. These are very nice little handy viewers because they're compact and you can keep them with you. But one thing I didn't realize, even though I have one of the regular light owls and I keep it in my camera case, apparently that's made out of a stiffer plastic, and a lot of people, especially women, say that keep them in the purses that they've broken. So I guess in response to that, when Brian May had them build this steampunk light owl viewer, he had to use a different plastic. It's slightly more flexible. So that's the story. It's cool looking. It's highly functional. And the only place you will get it in this special packaging is right here in the
Steampunk
Souvenir Packet. Yeah.
So
and then
go back 10 years, it was quite in style.
Yeah, there you go. As was 3D. The next thing is the L'Oreal Pixie Viewer, which is a wonderful viewer. The steampunk is great if you're looking at a screen or a stereo card, but it's not good for using like on a monitor or a laptop. It's the focal length is too short. Whereas this L'Oreal Pixie is a great viewer for looking at 3Ds if you're not a particularly good parallel 3 viewer, or even if you aren't, you can't do something very large. This is great for using when you're viewing things on a larger screen. It's got little ear hooks that you can hold it onto your face and look like a complete idiot, but they are highly functional. It's great. And apparently these are virtually unobtainable in Europe now. So for our European viewers, this is kind of the only place you're going to get these right now. And the price is right. Usually I think you can probably pay just about for one of these what you pay for the whole packet. And the last real big goodie that comes in it is one of these Gunnar glasses. They are, again, the real D circular polarized. They're made out of a very high quality plastic. The frames themselves are very sturdy, so they are a top quality, probably the best real D polarized glasses that were made commercially. They're built to last. They've got a huge lens, so they're real good. I just looked at my 4K TV the other day with them, and I wasn't complaining. And then there's a few other little stocking stuffers in there, like some postcards. But that's it. It's only $29.95, I think, in the US, including shipping. And what are we charging internationally? $39?
40, yeah.
40, yeah.
Let's make it 30 or 40.
Yeah. Given what shipping costs us right now, let me tell you, it's a good deal. It's very expensive for some reason to ship from the US into Europe. So that's it. It's quite a goodie bag. Quantities are limited. And operators are now standing by, which means that if you go to the website, you can do it all yourself. And you can do it right now. We take every form of payment known to man, as long as it's Visa or PayPal or whatever. And actually, you can even, Eventbrite even allows you to send a check in and all sorts of stuff like that. Although, of course, as a treasurer, I discourage that because it's a big pain in the neck. But it's a great souvenir packet, possibly the greatest one ever. And
I think I'll go to that.
There you go.
We should probably also mention that when you're getting your souvenir packet, if you are currently an NSA member and you need to renew your membership, or if you're not a member and you'd like to join, you can get National Stereoscopic Association membership at the same time that you register, and you'll get that membership at a pretty good discount.
Yes, and as treasurer of the NSA, I want to discourage anyone from doing that because it's a really good deal.
Chris Olson, and that's Mitch Walker. I forgot to call Mitch to invite him here. Chris passed away last month, and Jim Carbonetti, who's also a former member. Are you still a member, Jim?
Yeah.
Great. Let me.
That's a great shot.
Yeah, if you want, I can just show these, or do you have things you want to share on your own?
No, everything. I gave you a few things, so let's see what you got. These are neat shots.
Yeah. I knew Chris well. I went to his house a lot. He had a lot of, he was into tiki, at least at the time I knew him.
Yeah.
And he had a small backyard, and it was very tiki-ized.
Yes, very tiki-ized.
This looks like one of our board meetings. I recognize everybody here except the lady with her hands over Mitch's shoulders. There's Susan, Chris, David Starkman. Does anybody know who that is with the flower in her hair?
Marjorie Webster, the hospitality director extraordinaire.
Okay. Oh, I knew her, but she was older than Mitch. Mike McKinney, David Kuntz. I can't think of that guy's name.
Isn't that Alan?
Alan Williams.
There you go.
That's probably one of our long board meetings that went on for God knows how long.
When was that taken, Steve?
I would say the late 90s.
Wow.
90s. That's Mitch. Mitch was president, I think, after.
Oh, wow. There's a neat one. So there's Judy. There's Judy, his wife, on the right, and Sean.
Mm-hmm. And that's Earl Coogan, I believe, on the left. He was a member, I think, until he was almost 100.
God.
I knew Earl well. That's everybody that we talked about except Jerry and Walter. That's the gentleman who moved to New Mexico, still lives there. Then there's Earl again, and Oliver all the way to the right, and Oliver is our longest standing member who's been around. Is Oliver here? Last meeting. This was one of our 3D cons, if you look at the chat. It's a nice picture of Chris. This is a picture of all the presidents except me.
Look at that.
I don't think Valerie ever remembered that I was president because I was there when that picture was taken.
You have to insert yourself.
Yeah.
Photoshop.
No, I'd rather not. Looks good though. Bob Kniesel is the man in the blue shirt. Lawrence, I think it's time you run for president again.
Anyway, so just real quick, we did the shootout. Is where David and Susan? They're not on, right?
No, they had
they weren't able to make it this month.
Okay. Anyway, so I don't know how many people know about the deal, but we had a shootout because I always wondered what is the best viewer, and so I said, well, to David and Susan, has anyone ever checked it out? Oh no, nothing really official. I said we got to do a shootout. So Chris and we did our own little shootout, and then David and Susan said, no, we now have to get involved. So I said, okay, here come the heavy guns. So we all gathered down in Culver City at Susan and David's place, and there's the result. We're gathered around with all these viewers, and lo and behold, people, what do you think came out as the #1 viewer? Any guesses? Eric knows.
I have a pretty good idea. Would it be the realist red button?
Here we go. No, it wasn't. Can you guys read this?
Oh, it wasn't. Which one was it?
Check it out right there. Company back in Rochester. You may have heard of them.
Kodak.
Oh, wow.
No, it wasn't Kodak.
Huh? TDC.
Oh, they did.
TDC.
Ultimately, it was the code.
Well, yeah.
Coda Slide 2 was ultimately our favorite. We just thought overall it was our favorite. There were little politics involved with, having a realist in there, but we all really liked the imagery, the brightness, and the lenses of the Coda Slide 2. It was very informal, but we all were kind of in line with it. I think maybe David might not have been. He was kind of the, for some reason, he was kind of the Joe Manchin of the group.
I don't love the Coda Slide 2 because of the focusing mechanism.
Well, I mean, obviously you have to kind of fix it over the years.
It's died on every single.
Yeah.
The Kodak viewers have the worst focusing system.
But once you get it fixed and adjusted, it's like, holy crap. Anyway. So
And
that
it's
was
not easy to fix. It's like annoying. I don't know why they couldn't go with a gear instead of that cloth.
pressure pad thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. I agree. It was crazy. But anyway, that was the shootout. And so Chris and I were there along with David and Susan. The funny thing is, when I got involved with the club back in, I think, 86, something like that. No, it had to be earlier than that. But once I showed Chris some, obviously, Viewmasters and some realist slides, he was hooked. And then he came to one of the meetings and then he got hook, line, and sinker. So from that point on, he was crazy for it. And I always felt kind of like, should I feel bad about this or good? But he really, he collected a lot of cameras, a lot of projectors, and other weird 3D things. He wasn't like a Dan Sims, but nowhere near that. But he still had a lot of stuff that he had collected over the years. And we also introduced another guy. These are two people that I worked with when I was working for the game show company Goodson Todman in Hollywood. Another guy who I got hooked onto it, his name was Corey Anderson. And he went off the deep end too with Viewmasters and all sorts of stuff. So both of those guys I brought into the meetings, and the rest was history. From that point on, Chris and I, we created a bunch of videos and things that we had done over the years. And we always starred our fellow coworkers, roped them into some of these videos. And one of the videos that we shot ended up being a grand prize winner on America's Funniest Home Videos.
Which one was that?
That was the amazing Colossal Baby.
Cool.
While you were showing that reminded me, I have one of the videos, the 3D videos that you shot with Chris in my archive. So I just pulled that up and I can share it. It's one called Late 40s.
Oh, right. Oh, God. That's great. You still have that.
Yeah. So I can show that in Anaglyph right now. If you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be good. This is from 2008, and it has to deal with Schwinn bicycles. We decided just to go out and, anyway, you know the rest. Boy, that's pretty frantic. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, the old dual Canon cameras.
I was thinking of the old banana seat.
Yeah,
where'd you get all those great bikes?
A friend of mine, those are reproductions that Schwinn came out starting, I think, in 1999. And so
Wow.
he had kind of a collection of them. We said, hey, you know what? We're coming up. We're going to go bowling in Montrose. And he said, let's go ride bikes. I said, perfect. I can try out my new dual camera Steadicam thing. And Chris wanted to try it too. So he was shooting most of that stuff. So, you know, it was just kind of a fun kind of a thing. That was, again, 2008. And then we went bowling after that. And I shot that in 3D. So that's a whole nother can of worms. We're always doing crazy things.
Yeah, another thing Chris used to do a lot was put on the Viewmaster contest for the club.
Oh.
He was a very enthusiastic shooter of the Viewmaster Personal. That's probably what I remember him most for, and his sense of humor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was a
Eric,
jokester.
that's great. You got that. What else, anything else you got in the archives there?
That one I knew where to go hunting for.
Yeah.
I may have some others, but I'd have to go looking for them.
Okay. Yeah, but like I said, most of the stuff we did was 2D.
Boo.
Well, I know, but come on. What are you gonna do?
Okay.
Remembered that one. I remembered that one from back when we had the old movie division meetings.
Yes.
In Arcadia.
Yeah.
So I remember we showed that one there.
Yeah.
The school.
Yeah, the school,
I
right?
remember those.
Longview or whatever that street was.
Yeah, it was John Hart was the principal.
Yeah, that
I
was
remember
neat.
seeing some pretty spicy stuff there for being at a school.
Whoops. Well, it was after dark, so don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, the kids had all gone. Okay, Eric, are you going to show us some of the?
Yeah. Jim, thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing your
thanks.
memories of Chris, and you know, he'll be missed by everyone who knew him.
Yeah, he was a really good guy. He wasn't like one of these, you know, bad guys, or he wasn't a jerk or anything. Chris was like, everybody liked Chris. You know, if you knew him, everybody liked Chris. So he was just one of those guys. And then you're like, wait a minute, hold it. He's gone. These guys are still here, but that guy's gone. Well, there's something wrong here, you know.
Yep.
Well, let me share the club website here, and I'll show everyone. One of the features that we have on the club website, if you scroll about 2/3 of the way down, we have something labeled as the Los Angeles 3D Club Archives. The club archivists, Susan Pinsky and David Starkman, have been very busy putting together the club archive website, a digital repository of everything from the club's history. And if you click that link, it'll open up the always under construction 3D Club Archive page. And you can click in the menu here where it says SCSC LA3D Presidents. And there's actually a record of all of the club presidents through the years, along with images. And if we scroll down here, far enough down the page, I believe we actually have a picture that we were looking at earlier. There we are. So here's a picture from 1994. This is the picture of Chris Olson with Mitch Walker. The way this is set up, everything is in a left, right, left orientation so that you can either parallel or cross free view it. And if you click on any of these images, it'll embiggen it for you so you can look at them large on your screen. And you can go through here and learn more about Chris and all of the other previous presidents of the club. One other feature that's pretty new on this LA3D Club Archive site, David and Susan have just completed scanning and posting all of the previous issues of the 3D News, the newsletter of the LA3D Club. If you go into the More menu and select Past Newsletters, you get to this page that has a full archive going all the way back to 1955 of all of the 3D News issues that have been published by the club, grouped by the club year, the club competition years. And then they're broken down by decades. So we've got the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and right up to last year's 3D News issues. So for instance, if we go back to the issues from 1994, it'll open up a PDF that contains all of the issues from that club year. And then you have a complete list of everything
Art Linkletter.
that was published in the 3D News that year.
What did it say about Art Linkletter? Oh, Lawrence would know.
There's an article. Lawrence wrote an article. And because this, I believe they've gone through and done text recognition on all of this to make it searchable. So you should be able to do searches in here. So for instance, let's search for Chris Olson.
There he is.
And it'll find throughout all of the times that Chris Olson was mentioned in the 3D News. So this is a really, really wonderful resource that David and Susan have put together, and that's available to everyone, not just club members. All you need to do is go to the website, go into the club archives, and all of this treasure trove of information from the past of the club is available.
Oh, this was a Marvin Jones production. He used to be the editor before I was.
Yeah. This is back when Marvin was the editor. We've gone through a number of newsletter editors, and actually we have a brand new newsletter editor working on the newsletter now. And maybe we should introduce Teresa.
Hello. Let me share my screen now, Eric. And so you see me on the right, I take it, and the June cover page of the 3D News in front of you. I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and just quickly, my editorial background comes from many years of advertising in television and some newspaper, newsprint, and outdoor billboard. I was responsible for approving final copy that would go to clients so that I could close them on the deal. And my interest in 3D came from my sister, Anna Berezin, who is married to Steve. Many, many years ago, I started helping Steve at the NSA conferences. So that's about me a little bit. I've only been doing this for a few months, and I'm totally open to any feedback or critique or support that you can give me, as I've never done desktop newsletter, digital newsletter publishing before myself. What I created new to the newsletter this month is on the cover page. This is kind of a cattywampus view of the competition winning theme winner, which was Queen by Eric Kurland. I'm sorry, Eric. And if you click on the image, it will take you to the page that shows the image correctly and then a synopsis. My intention is to do this every time there is a competition and feature the theme winner on the cover page. So I'm sorry, I should have go back to the top, and I'll add that in. Back to the table of contents page. Now I'm seeing this kind of lopsided. Eric, are you seeing it correctly? Is your view?
Looks correct to me.
Yes,
Okay, all right.
it looks good here. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So everyone, you'll see that the table of contents page has clickable links to the articles included in the newsletter. At the bottom of the table of contents page, we will always have a welcome to new club members. And as we get new club members, they'll be listed here with their home city, hometown, home state. And in the meantime, always send your friends and family to Jody Curlin or membership at LA3Dclub.com to incite your friends and families to join. The next will be the synopsis of what is going to happen in the current month's meeting, offered from the webpage, the home 3D LA3D Club website by Eric again, and then we'll go into the president's article offered by Steve Berezin this year. And then we'll have different, if it is a competition month, the winners will be listed, and article synopsis by David Kuntz with the scoring. Next month, I believe we will have the annual winner of the full year, competition results, and then again into the theme winner. After competition, we'll have different articles submitted by club members and other members. What I will be doing at our board meeting is giving a list of submissions of articles so that we can clarify that everything is acceptable by the board. We don't run into any issues. And after articles will go to news and notes from the LA3D Clubhouse by Lawrence Kaufman. This is a standard inclusion every article or every issue. And after Lawrence's edition, one thing really cool that Lawrence lists are upcoming movies, 3D movies. This year, this article, just for the sake of time, I cut it after 22, but he does have information available and I can provide it through 2023.
You can put that on a later, stay tuned, it'll be in a later edition.
Yes, it will. Most likely in July, I'll be able to include the full list. Then LA TV information, anybody wanting a 55-inch 3D television, here's some information on how to obtain one. And then we close with the Fantagram of the Month by Barry Rothstein. Barry offers a new image every month. Actually, he has weekly images and then indicates which image he wants in the 3D news. And that's it. Once again, please give me any feedback or articles. The deadline for articles is the first Friday of every month. Gives me enough time to edit and publish prior to the meeting, which is the third Thursday of every month. Thank you.
Teresa, thank you for using side by side for colorful images on the front cover.
Oh, the cover? Well, that was kind of cattywampus. As I mentioned, it was an idea that hit me, heaven only knows when, what time, you know how it is. And I just think it's a great image to begin with the color and the whole thing. It's awesome. I threw it up there and I liked it, so I used it.
Good work.
Thank you. I appreciate the comment.
Teresa, thank you so much for all you're doing. It's wonderful.
Well, I thank you again, and I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Okay, Dave Camo just put a comment in about the TVs. He made a video on how to upgrade the firmware. If you want to put a link to that, we can put it with, we do download these, great, thank you. We put these videos up of the thing up at our thing. We're going to have an issue this time with copyrighted material, so we might have to trim a bit of this one out. Okay, as Teresa mentioned, I have made a small, actually not so small, but what I did is I went ahead and there's a lot of apps that are on the phones for doing 3D pictures, and I did a video on one. And what I'm going to do is I can also connect the phone and talk about it that way, but it's a little easier just to go from a video. So,
okay, this is the screen for I3D Steroid. You see around, we'll start with the bottom left, the little wizard cap there.
see, I can stop this at any time if you have questions. I3D Steroid is a program you can get on your phone. It's mostly, you can get it, it's pretty similar for Android or iOS, but I use it all the time. It's my main 3D camera. If you have any questions, raise your hand and I can stop
that,
or you can wait till the end.
Is a alignment button.
The
wizard cap
it
that's
does
in
get better.
color, make sure the left and right
resolution.
images have the same color arrangements, which is big if you're using the built-in camera for the iPhones. The third button gets you into the menu for formatting. The fifth button gets you in, fits the image. If you start zooming and things and you want it to be screen width, that will work for that. Then the next button that says L and R is for reversing the image, especially if you're doing a cha-cha and you weren't able to do it correctly. You actually got the right image first, which can happen when you're traveling. The next is a format for ways you can see the image. The fifth is orientation. The sixth is sharing. And the seventh, the last button is for pantograms. And that's a new button I'll tell you a little bit about towards the end. Let's just start with this image here, which says left, right, and this is his image. Let me see, it's probably a line, but we'll press the align button. If you look at the top, it goes through these steps and it shows you what the deviation is after it aligns it. Deviation 7.9%. That's pretty high. I try to stay at 3%, but maybe for something like Instagram, that would be proper. Now I'm going to press the button with the exclamation point on it on the bottom, and we'll see what that does. And you can see that changes the orientation, or can change the orientation. This is more for alignment if you're not happy with the auto alignment, or you have other things that you need to do. The buttons are pretty self-explanatory, but on an iPad or a phone like I'm on now, you can use the touch screen to move things. When you touch it, you can see, you can actually crop it. Say I wanted to crop it and just have the girl in the picture, I could do that. And then all I'm doing is clicking and dragging. You can't really see that, but here we go. Clicking and dragging. Okay, and then let's move. Say we're gonna do that, then we're gonna wanna change the window a little bit. Let's have her arm go out of the window. And then if you wanna finish the crop, you press, see where it says I3D Steroid on the upper left-hand corner. You press that and you get the cropped image. And that's side by side. So that's what you can do in that menu. The next menu that I'm going to show you is the way to display it. And you see here, there's a parallel image, a pair of eyes, and that's the image for parallel. So you have parallel. If you want to save it as cross-eyed, you press the next button. If you want to save it, I'm going to go over those next two buttons a little later. If you want to save it as an anaglyph, there's different types of anaglyph. color, black and white, Dubois, blue yellow, another color, blue yellow. This is for a mirrored view. This is if you want mono, over or under. If you want to make a GIF, this is for if you have an auto stereoscopic screen. This is if you want it half viewed for viewing on a TV or something that uses squeezed half views. So I told you I was going to go back to these other two. Now, if you press, I'm going to press the first one, and that's one I use a lot. The one that looks like two long rectangles. I'm going to press that, and you see what it does? It curves the edges. Now, I set that up earlier, and the way I did that is by pressing on the upper right-hand corner. Let me do that again. So you can change the colors that you want in there for the background. A lot of times I like to use gray. You can change the border width, corners, how much rounded the corners are. Let me hit OK. You see I changed it to gray there. Let's go back to the main menu. Let's look at this one. That will flip it. That flips the orientation. The next one, that's the zoom feature. It's not actually zoom, it's more for if you're viewing it on a headset. If you see on the top, you can also flip it. Press that button, and that will change it as well. Oh, so if you're in this one, when you move your pad, it will move with you, or your phone. So if you have a little phone viewer, the other one you press, and it will actually work by touching the screen. So you see the little hand up there, you use that or not. I'm going to go back, and this is the rectangle. It needs to detect a rectangle, so when you go into settings, this will tell you whether you can use the phantogram setting. So I turn the phantogram setting on, and this is what you do here is put the dimensions, actually just the ratio of what your square is. So you carry a little cutout square. Barry gave a workshop on this in the New York Stereo Club, and he's going to give a workshop on it for our Stereo Club in September. So stay tuned for that. So you can do things like slide intervals, wiggle interval, how big you want the black band in the middle. This is all things that you can do. You can set up your own gallery and upload to it. I'll save that for later. You can also do eye marks, auto save photo from camera. That just saves the photo so you don't have to worry about saving it. High resolution for new iPad, which I have. So it does save in very high resolution. Use SPM auto adjustment. And then I3D photo cam I have. On my iPad, it's not really useful because I don't have the double camera on the iPad, but I do use that on the iPhone. Let me show you another thing with that menu though. I'm pressing this. If you want to go to a web gallery, you can set up your own, but a lot of them are already set up. These are mostly from the original maker of Stereo Photo Maker and I3D Steroid. So a lot of scenes from Japan. So if you press the first one of any list, or actually any of them of any list, it will go to it. So here's his images. And I think they're viewing that way because that's the way I have it set up. If you press this, you get left and right on the top and right to left cross-eyed on the bottom. You see the button that has the film around it? That's the slideshow button. So if you want to look at these as a slideshow, you can change that interval inside the program itself. If I'm working with this, let's say I do one of my own images and I want to do some work with it. What I would do is save this in a parallel image. I find that's usually the easiest to work with. Go back, I would save the stereo image, and that saves it to your camera roll. So let's say I want to use Snapseed, which is a free program. I open up the last image I opened up. So let's say I want to add a little pop to this or some effect. I can do that. What would I want to do? I don't want to do a frame. You don't want to do any effect that is going to do something different to the left and the right image. You're mostly doing image tuning, and say I wanted to increase the saturation and then save it and then reopen it in stereo I3D Steroid. So I'm just going to show the camera app here, the building camera app, which is a little different than doing a cha-cha. You don't need the I3D camera program. Okay, one thing you should know, you need to hold your camera in the horizontal position. Okay, so we're going into the camera app. I was going to take a break here for questions, just because I'm going to give I think there's about a minute left where I'm going to go over the camera app. Does anybody have any questions about using it for cha-cha?
I do, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, so can you save MPOs out?
No, you can only save as JPEGs because of the original camera. I can actually read MPOs though.
You can read MPOs, yeah, through here. But is there anything you know on iOS that will create MPOs, save MPOs?
I don't know. I haven't tried that. I have an MPO program on iOS, but I don't think it saves as MPOs.
Hey, Steve, quick question. I was just trying to load it, and I put it on i3. It recognized I3D Steroid, but all it's showing is 3D Steroid and 3D Steroid Pro.
Right.
So I'm not looking to load I3D Steroid?
I3D Steroid Pro is better. You know, I figure this guy does so much work for us whenever he has a paid app.
No, but it's I don't see it. I don't see one that says I3D Steroid. Yeah.
Are you
Barry,
on Android?
Are you on an Apple or an Android phone?
I'm on an Android phone.
That's the difference.
These are only, yeah, that's the difference. These new versions of the apps are only for iPhone.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, the Android app is actually, I think, a better app in general.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Because I've used it.
Yeah.
What's the difference, Steve? What's the difference between the two? Why are you saying it's better? What does it have a different?
Well,
feature?
it had like a leveling line, and some of the Androids did have a 3D capability, but now I think the iOS has kind of gone over that, and that's where I'm going to go over in the next. Can you see me? Let me.
There's an interesting thing about this app, and that is, I was poking around today. A lot of iOS apps now run on the Mac. And I checked on this for this app, and it turns out that in the German iOS App Store, it says that this app runs on the Mac, as long as you're using the latest version of the operating system, which is Big Sur, and as long as you're using a Mac that's based on an M1 chip. So that's very interesting. Then
you don't need to get that wine bottle or whatever it's called, because this is almost as good as the other app.
Yeah, on the latest version of the Mac operating system, I checked this out today as well. The old stereo photo maker, which runs on Mac High Sierra, does not run on the latest iOS Mac Big Sur. You may be able to tweak it a bunch to get it to run, but I couldn't get it to run.
One thing that I've been doing, and I have this covered, I can show you. I have this workshop that's on the other site, and it goes into how I actually use a card reader, and I'm able to take pictures with a W3 and do all the work I need with a card reader hooked into my iPhone, you know, all the alignment, and it does read MPOs, but it doesn't write MPOs, which is what somebody was asking. I don't really have a reason to write MPOs unless it's to load directly into a 3D TV. I can't think of another reason that I would want to write an MPO, because I usually just write it out as a non-compressed JPEG. Whoever asked about the MPOs, why did you want to write MPOs?
Well, because I do like to play them
On a
directly.
TV.
Yeah, just instead of having to go into another program, I'd like to, because I use I3D all the time, and it'd be nice to not have to go through that extra step. Just give me the MPO, which keeps the 2 discrete JPEGs, so that's terrific, and then just be able to play it, plug it into my 3D Blu-ray player, and it, you know, senses it and it plays everything perfectly in aspect ratio and all that. So it just saves that middle step of you having to gather up all your images you've shot for the day on your bloody iOS phone, and then you have to kind of go through and transcode everything. So I was just hoping, oh, well, maybe he's already introduced an MPO save out.
Yeah, you might want to ask him. Do you know?
I would suggest.
Like, go ahead, Eric.
Masuji Sudo, who wrote all of these apps, is very open to suggestions. If you send Masuji an email asking if he could add a feature to write MPOs, if he's able to do it, he most likely would do it.
I mean, you can write MPOs directly from Stereo PhotoMaker. So if you had a bunch of side-by-sides, you could just put them in a folder, and then there's a batch process.
Yeah, but it's nice to be able to do it. Yeah, I really don't need to go to my computer for anything anymore. I do everything on my pad. So
yeah, I mean,
that's the one thing that I can't do.
Yeah, and that's what I say. So it keeps you away from having to go to a laptop or a desktop to do that. Just you could just throw it up onto your LG or
because I have
whatever.
as you see, I take this stuff and I throw it in other programs. As long as I save it as a parallel and I don't have to, I can really snap it up. I have a Lightroom that I run off my phone. I mean, what I do now is pretty much to turn them into MPOs, what I'd probably do is run Chrome Desktop Remote and send them to that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
that
kind of a pain in the ass, but
like
you
I said,
can't do that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just looking for the easy way to do it. When you're done shooting, you want to just put them up on your big screen to take a look at and not have to jump through that extra hoop.
Yeah. I would suggest send an email to Masuji Sudo and ask him if it's possible to add that feature.
Yeah, it's a good one, Eric. Yep.
Okay, the next part of the video,
I see a raised hand from Davey C.
Davey C.
Do you have a question you wanted to ask?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, Dave Kurlander. I thought it was Dave Camo.
Hello there. One of my favorite things about Stereo PhotoMaker is the ability to create depth maps, the grayscale depth map. And I'm hoping that someday we'll have that as well on the 3D Steroid lab.
Oh, he does have. There is a depth map app that he just came out with, and I can actually do a little bit with that if you. I'll do the next section, then I can do a little bit on the depth map if you want.
Excelente.
Okay, let me.
Little Spanish lingo there for you.
Yeah, I just have like a minute left on this where I go over. If you see, my new iPhone has 2 lenses or 3 lenses, and it does. He has an app that will use these 2 lenses for a stereo image. So they're pretty close together, so there isn't a lot you can do with it. You can do portraits and close things. The problem is they have different f-stops and everything, so it's really a lot of work that his program does to kind of even everything out and even the lighting and the color. I'll go over that a little in this video and start it now. This is a camera app that is particular, just only works on the newer ones. If you look, you'll see the red blue button on the side that you can use for photographing with the phone. If you hit that and go again, you will see that it changes into another mode. And this is where you can use the cha-cha. If you see the two screens on the left, the arrow will be pointing to those now. You can do a cha-cha shot. It's like this. It'll just be the shot from the two cameras on your phone. Okay, let's go ahead and do a shot that way. That's a little closer to what I might use. Plus, it gives me a little more space for cropping. Okay. 3.1% deviation. That's a little better. Let's crop a bit. If you remember from my earlier lesson, what do you press for cropping? It's the button with the exclamation point. This is just not exactly something I would enter in a contest. Okay, and then we press the corner where it says I3D Steroid. Let's hit that button again to match the color. And there you have it. Here, let's save it, curve it so it looks nice. Around the corners a little more. Thicker border. Okay. Let's say if you see that edge there, you see I have a little bit of that keyboard in there. Maybe I don't want that. So let me edit it a little more. To save, you hit the stereo image. We always save an original resolution. Anyways, Phyllis was going to talk a little bit about the social aspects of 3D-Con. Are you still there, Phyllis?
Sorry, I was muted.
It's okay.
We were planning it last year, and we have secured the hotel. It's a wonderful, wonderful location. So it is a go. I'm just absolutely delighted to announce that. Any questions?
I'm sorry, when in 2022? What month?
Oh, I'm sorry, July 10 through 18. August 10 through 18. Sorry.
August 10 through 18.
No, God, I'm sorry, I'm confusing this year. It's the first week in August.
First week in August. Okay.
Yes. I should have had the dates down ahead of time, but.
How many days is that event?
August 1st through the 8th. So it's a whole week. Or a week and it'll start. Some people will show up on Monday, but it actually will probably start on Tuesday night or Wednesday and go through Monday. We'll have tours on Monday. Probably to Mount Rainier. That lovely image behind me. I think that is. So anything else?
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to seeing everybody there.
I put the link into the, I'm not sure if that link will work, if somebody could try it out and then who hasn't subscribed to the channel and then try to subscribe. And then you'll get notices when we put new videos up. And then I'll also send, we also have a club website where we'll probably be putting the video for this up.
Yeah, I can show where that is on the club website.
Yeah. So this is a separate website because this one's tied to the one I have, I'm able to
Here,
do the chapter settings. Let me go to mine. And I'll show you how to.
So
Yeah,
here's
feel free to hit it.
on the club website. There's actually 2 new additions on here. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, we have tutorials and workshop videos. There's a playlist here. So as we add more tutorials and workshop videos to the channel, you'll be able to get all of them right here on the website. You can also go to the channel where Steve's posting all of this by clicking on the Watch on YouTube button here. One other thing that's just been added to the club website, under the meetings on the menu, we now have a virtual meeting videos page. And that has a playlist on YouTube of all of our prior recordings of these club meetings. So you can go back and check out any of the prior month's meetings directly on the club website. Or again, you can click the Watch on YouTube button to go to the YouTube channel. And speaking of workshops, don't we have one this weekend?
All right, let's talk a little bit about what's happening for this weekend for the workshop. One of the things that Steve asked me a couple of weeks ago is, hey, would you be able to talk about doing your colorization workshop, which I've done a couple of times. You see an example of it over my shoulder here. I've done that one a few times in there, but I told Steve, I said, hey, I said, I've actually been working on some new stuff that I think might be interesting in here. And what I wanted to be able to talk about was how we could do that to be able to see, to be able to do these for doing either 3D stereo conversions, which is what we're looking at here. You can take this and you can actually take a 2D image and then automatically convert it by using grayscale into 3D. I've actually done this manually a number of times before. It takes quite a while to be able to do this. It can take several hours to be able to do this. But within the last year or two, artificial intelligence has actually really progressed. And the ability to be able to do this now in just a few minutes is actually there. It's not perfect. I'm going to show you some of the things, some of the limitations and some of the things you can do. But for example, I took this image and ran it through a process in there. I'm going to show you free versions as well as paid versions to be able to do that. And I can take that and convert that from here into 3D. And we'll just do that right here. Oops, let's actually just get the right one. There we go. We'll take that and we'll convert that. And now this is 3D. So if you have your anaglyph classes, here is that same image in 3D. We just made it that quick to be able to do that. Let me show you a couple of other ones. I actually have a couple of others available in here. We'll take a look at a few others here. So let's actually just take a look at another one here. And again, we can do this very quick. We're just going to go here and open this up. I'm going to talk about exactly how to be able to create this in here, and we'll see how to be able to do that. And we'll see some of the things that are some of the limitations and some of the things that we can do to be able to correct that. So let's just look at a handful of others here to be able to see the type of things that we're going to talk about. And then I'm going to talk about how to do the colorization as well. This one obviously is a photo that did not require colorization, but I thought it was a good image just to be able to show overall the type of things that you can do from there. So just a lot of fun to be able to actually create a 3D image from your 2D if you don't have a 3D one to be able to do that, and we can do those there. Now, in addition to doing that, what Steve had actually asked me originally for was, can you go through and do your workshop on colorization? And this is an example of one that I had done. Now, I've done that workshop a few times. In fact, we have a recording of that is actually now one of the recording workshop tutorial videos that's available through the 3D Club in there. This one here, this actually took me about 3 or 4 days to be able to do it. And because there's a lot of trees, a lot of color, a lot of things to be able to do in here for that. And when I was going through and doing the workshop last year, I was going through the process and showing people how to do it in Photoshop. There was some questions that some people asked towards the end, and they said, hey, can your computer do it automatically? Is there an automatic way to be able to do that? And I had said no at that time because I had looked at the technology a few years ago. It wasn't available. It really wasn't working right to be able to do that. But that's improved greatly. So let's actually take a look a little bit about what it is that we can do. Let's go over here. Let me open this up again in here. And I'm going to go in here and we'll just open up some of the ones that we can actually do and do in color in here for this. So the image that we had taken a look at over here, this is one that I hand colored. And again, it took it about 3 or 4 days. Let's actually just take a look at that now And let's take a look at that image. I'm going to bring in the black and white version for that. So here's the black and white version for that. And now I took a computer program, which I'll show you during the workshop on Saturday. I took that, and within about 2 minutes was able to produce this as a full color. So let's actually just take a look at that as a color stereo in here to be able to see that. And you can see how quickly and easily it is to be able to produce that. There is some limits to that. We'll talk about those. There is some things that you can see that it does really well for, and there's some things that it has some limits on. So let's take a look at a couple of others in here. So this is another black and white one that we see in here for that. And then let's look at the color comparison for that. So the same image in color in here. And again, this is literally about 1 to 2 minutes worth of work to be able to produce this, to be able to get this type of image in here. Let's look at another one in here for this, another black and white one, and another color one in here. Let's actually just look at that one in color for that. Really quick, really easy to be able to produce this in here versus what you were able to do previously. Now, there are some challenges. There are some things in here where it's like, yeah, it did a really great job. And then there are some things where when you look at it, it just does an absolutely horrible job and that you would never want to be able to share that. So for example, this is the image that is actually on the site talking about the colorization. This is one that was done automatically, and you can see it doesn't live up to what it should be. A lot of black areas in there, a lot of limits in there. But I'm going to show you how to be able to fix those things, how to be able to take care of those things. And we'll talk about that and how to be able to produce that so you can, instead of spending half a day or actually multiple days in this particular case, to be able to do something with a lot of detail in there, you're going to be able to go in there and you're going to be able to produce an image in here that would be able to go in and to be able to get you something like that from that to something like this. Literally in just a minute or two. It's actually really easy to be able to do that, particularly if you don't have the time or interest to be able to learn the skills necessary to do that. So that's what we're going to be talking about this weekend. Questions about the workshop, about what we're talking about, what we're covering, about what's going to go on there. I'm happy to be able to answer those if anybody has questions on that.
Hey, David, I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
How would you compare this automatic process to your process where you take, a day and a half to 2 days on the images? Is it close, 80% to what you can do?
Actually, here's what I really like about it. When I do something like this, the problem that I have with an image like this is that there are so many little things, and that's what takes so long to be able to do it. When I go in there and do it and an auto colorization in there to be able to do that, the things that take hours to days to be able to do, I can now do it in minutes in there. It's not perfect to be able to do it, but it does a really, really good job to be able to do that. Where I need to be able to go in and actually, let me show you something. I actually did one. I forgot I have one here that I did. Let me bring up a different window here. I actually had done this one in here, and I'll show you an example of one. Let me see if I can find the original. I'd share that. Let's see if I have it here for this, in here for this. And I'm not seeing it right here. So I have the images in there that some of the detail in there as we're looking at them, the quality of the details for what you're seeing in there is really good for really intimate details and things like this. I actually think it's better than doing it by hand, because when I do it by hand, that for an image like this, I would do 60 to 80 layers in here. But if you're doing it with the automatic colorization, the number of layers for me to be able to reproduce this would be into the thousands. So it's not practical for me to be able to do it. On the other hand, it limits what you can do when you go into certain images, and that for certain images that it's like, oh, it has no idea what's going on, and it really just lost the control or visibility to that. And that's where you need to be able to see about how to be able to correct it. So I'll talk about some of those in there as well, and how to be able to fix some of those type of things and what we can do to be able to correct those. Let me see if I can find one here. But basically, that's the thing, is for lots of small details, it's terrific. For certain images, it doesn't work, and you need to be able to go in and to be able to massage it a bit in there to be able to do that. But it does a really good job overall for things in there for that. And I'm going to go through.
What time is that workshop, and where can they reach it?
It is going to be at 10 o'clock on Saturday, and the link is going to be the same link that we're using right here today. So it's actually just going to be available just through the same link that you used to be able to get to this meeting today. So it's easy to get to.
Thank you.
Any other questions about what we're talking about in here? I will go through and I'll show you again. I'll show you examples there on Saturday, and we'll talk about ones where there are images and there are issues in here. In fact, yeah, I just found one. Let me show you this. So I'll show you an example of one in here where it had some issues, and then how that I was able to fix that. So let me bring up one here. So here is an example. This is one in here that I did of Erwin Rommel. This is everything that was done directly from within the system. No assistance from me, nothing in there for that. And you notice in here that the uniform is just completely crazy. The skin tones, the background, all of those things look great, and it did a great job with that. But the uniform isn't right in here for that. And so I went in there and I manually adjusted it and fixed it so that it had the correct colors in there to be able to do that. So here it is, the way that it was produced. And here are the adjustments that I made to be able to make it the way that I wanted to be able to have it for the finished image for that. So we're going to talk about those type of things when the auto colorization goes crazy. How do you fix that? And then how can you get decent results in there? So that's just an example of something like that of where the limits are. And we'll talk about the limits and again how to be able to fix those as well to be able to take care of that.
Okay, sounds good. Somebody asked me about the 3D from depth maps, and just going to show that real quick. Let me see if this works. I've never actually tried it. I'm doing this directly from the phone. So let's see if this works. Do an I3D portrait. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, here's a photo I just took of this is using I3D portrait. I just took of I have the looking glass portrait. This is a picture of the portrait. Now I took this picture in portrait mode on my iPhone, so it's not in 3D at all. It's in portrait mode. So here's it in 2D. Then there's the depth map that was automatically made at the same time using the program. So this is not actually being done by that program. This is being done by the iPhone. So it does automatically make a depth map. And then if you have your 3D glasses on, you can see if it did a good job or not. And it looks pretty good. If you go to some of my other, if you go back in there into my workshops that I did, you'll notice that I did on how you can also change this into a blurred image. So it looks more, I think you call it Boku, or I think it's Boku, where everything is blurry except what that is. So this is one way you can do it instead of actually making a 3D photo, which is what you're doing with the other app. So he's really worked a lot on these apps. So this is the original, this is the image that it would look like on your phone if you weren't paying attention. Then this is the depth map, and this is the 3D image. And you can change these settings where you can share it, save 2D and depth. Then what you want to do is save it with 2D and depth for if you're using a looking glass, then you can import it directly into the looking glass and get a 3D image right away. So any questions on that particular app? I can go into that.
So I3D portrait is different than I3D steroid, iSteroid 3D?
Looking glass portrait. That's the name of the product. It's the one I just took a picture of. It's a auto stereographic display. Sorry, but it's not just static. If you're doing the Facebook 3D, if you've seen those type of images, or you can use that to convert it into a 3D image.
I don't have Facebook. I'm out of luck.
I think what Ed was asking about was, is this a separate app from I3D Steroid?
Yeah,
and
it
yes,
is.
this is a separate app. It's actually using the portrait mode. These latest model iPhones are part of having that multi-camera array on the front is when they take a portrait mode picture with the phone, it's generating a depth map on the iPhone. So Masuji has written software that accesses not only the image, but the depth map that's in that metadata with the image.
And the name of the app, and I presume I get it on the App Store, right?
Yeah.
Is I3D Portrait?
Yeah,
Or-
let me get out of my thing so I can. Yeah, see I3D Portrait. These are kind of the other ones. He also has a movie cam that uses the two lenses. Unfortunately, Movie Maker and Movie Cam, I can't share on Zoom. There's some sort of thing, but this one I can. This is the camera app I was showing before. I3D Photo Cam. So right here, actually, I probably do it like this, maybe. You can also do it in portrait. That's to do cha-cha, and it directly makes your photo. Now that's garbage, so I'm not gonna keep it. Whoops. So let's try another one. So you can do either cha-chas, and then you auto-align. That's the one that I do the most, but you can also do it as I3D Photo Cam. You can also change it into a 3D camera. That's what I was showing before. So see with the red green on the side, I press it once and it gets a stereo pair right away. And you notice the difference between the left and the right. See how garbagey that left image is? You press that little button and it evens it out. The carnival hat, the color one.
I think
And then you
that's
press.
a thumbprint. It's a thumbprint
Yeah.
on your lenses.
No, it looks like that, but it's not. It's because the lenses are different. Oh, is there a thumbprint?
That's the kind of effect you get with a thumbprint.
Oh,
right?
yeah. No, this is from a different lens. It's because the lens is different.
So
See?
left right lens, it's doing something different. They're not identical.
Right. One lens is they're different powers and different f-stops because they're not made to pair. They're made to be different purposes.
Okay, so in this case, this is kind of a cheat. You're getting it to
take
pictures that aren't really identical, but you're converting them.
Right. And the sync is good.
Okay.
The sync is exact, but nothing else is. If nothing's moving, you really probably don't want to do this. You want to go, and when you get to that point where the buttons are, you want to do a cha-cha. But if you're out where there's, and this is where I use it the most, where flowers are bobbing around while you're hiking, and you want to take a nice flower picture, you go and you take that picture with this, and then you clean it up a little. And after you do a few things with filters and Lightroom, you don't even notice that it's the cameras are different. You can really work around that.
Cool.
Okay.
Have you noticed differences in the?
Go ahead.
Have you noticed differences in the focal lengths? I saw a number of people were posting the pictures and commenting that the focal length was different. So the background blur on the left and right tend to be different.
Yeah, a little bit. Not so much because you can adjust for that. But usually I'm doing things that are such a short. I'm trying to plan for that. But yeah, there's differences in lighting. There's all kinds of the average f-stop differences that you're going to get. But I haven't been bothered by it that much. I mean, you have to admit, I'm used to shooting with a L'Oreal a lot. So it's kind of in that ballpark. L'Oreals aren't perfect either. So.
One thing I do like about the cha-cha function from Masuji's apps is No, typically cell phone cameras can focus very close. So
Mhm.
using that in cha-cha mode is a great way to do macro photography.
Good idea. Yeah. And you can also get cheap lenses for them, so they even get closer. Oh, go
So,
ahead. Any
excuse me, so
questions?
none of these are on the Android platform. Only the
No, the I Steroid, it's called something else. Eric would know.
3D
But they
Steroid.
do
Yeah,
have.
it's just 3D steroid without the I. The I is the iPhone version, and 3D steroid. It's 3D stereo for Android because he first initially wrote it as an Android program, and then he made the I version of it for iPhones.
Yeah, the Android version is definitely a very good version. So I would.
But the Android version does not include the depth map generation.
Right.
No,
I don't
because
think
that's
Stereo Photomaker.
happening. That's not happening in his app. That's actually happening on the iPhone itself. The iPhone generates a depth map when you take a portrait picture.
There
So-
are, or at least there used to be apps for the Android that would do 3D mapping that were, you had to Google Camera used to have an app where you could do, you move the phone a little bit up and down and it would map for you. I don't know if they still have that.
There are some Samsung phones and a few others that have portrait mode, just like an Apple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
not just an Apple thing.
You can get depth maps from some of those late model Samsung phones, but Masuji's app for Android doesn't read those at this point. You would have to take the image into Stereo Photomaker on a computer.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm just sticking into chat really quick. The file, I don't know if that's the best way, but it's just a comparison of Masuji's apps and whether they're on Android versus iPhones.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you want to share that real quick.
Sure.
So while Eric's doing that, I'll just mention we are having a show and tell like we usually do. Valerie's not here. So I was asking for signups in the chat, but I only have a couple. So if you have something to show and tell, put it in the chat and we'll come back to that.
I got one, Lawrence. I'll put it in the chat.
This is just something that Masuji posted on Facebook on his page. I don't know if you can see. So he's got the movie column and then he's got the still image column. And I guess if it has, well, I thought it had the Android version too, sorry. But this might be helpful for people.
It seems to have soured to Android.
I don't think it's so much that he soured to it, but there were some issues with developing things for the Google Play Store. I think it had. I'll have to double check. There were some issues regarding him being able to do updates to the apps.
Yeah, I've been using I3D Movie Cam a lot. I kind of like it for shooting things that are close up. One of the things I do tend to need to adjust it a lot. I take it into Sony Vegas and do a floating point for the convergence, and that really helps. I'll give a workshop on that someday if somebody needs it. But if I didn't do that, you'd have to cut it up into small pieces and realign every piece.
Yeah. Workshop, please.
Okay. Show and tell?
Any more? Have we started? So
I'm sorry, did I interrupt?
So Gordon had something, but Gordon had to leave because he's on the East Coast. So he put a link in the chat in case anybody's interested in checking it out. It's on his website. It has to do something with traffic. So I didn't get a chance to look at that. Then we have a couple more. Eric has something to share.
Yeah. Actually, first, before I show that, just to kind of put a cap on what Steve was showing, if you go to the club website and you go to the page for the June meeting, down here in the section describing Steve's mini workshop, I actually have links for the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And if you click on these links, it'll take you directly to where Masuji's apps are. So in the Google Play Store, you can click that link and it will take you to all of the apps that Masuji has posted for Android. And if you click the Apple App Store, it will take you to a page that shows all of the apps that Masuji has for iPhones.
That's very handy. Thank you.
So all of that is right on the club website. Just go to the June virtual meeting page if you'd like to check those out. Okay, so let me turn off my anaglyph so I can hold this up and show everyone. I was just at a comic book store and saw this book, Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and piqued my curiosity to see if they had any mention of any of the 3D comic books that Jack Kirby worked on. And I took a look in the index and found that there was actually an index reference. The last index reference under Z is...
That's the last one.
See if you can see that. Zone Ray,
Very good.
page 181.
Cool.
So if I go to page 181, here it is. They actually have, it says, the 3D fad was making a comeback. They were showing old 3D movies on TV with glasses you could get at 7-Eleven. I did some 3D comics with a fellow named Ray Zone who was interested in stereo optics. The comic came packaged with 3D glasses that said, Jack Kirby, King of Comics. And then it goes on to say, Johnny Carson was doing a 3D bit on his show. And what do you know? He was using a pair of my 3D glasses. And then it's got a drawing of Johnny Carson holding up 3D glasses. And it says, what's this say? Jack Kirby, King of Comics?
Wow.
Ed, have you ever heard of Jack Kirby? I know every stand-up comic in the business. I've never heard of Jack Kirby, King of the Comics. More like King of the Con Men. So Kirby goes on to say, Mark Evanier offered to call up Carson's producer. Johnny did a full retraction and talked in glowing terms about my work. And I thought it was kind of cool that if you look here, you can actually see there's an image, turn it this way, an image from Battle for a Three-Dimensional World. So I think it's kind of cool that in this comic book, even though it's not in 3D, it mentions 3D and it mentions Ray.
Can you put something like that about that in the 3D news? I'd love to see that.
Yeah, sure. I just ordered this on Amazon and got it a couple days ago.
That'd be great. Maybe we could convert it.
Oh, that would be fun. And then the other thing, I don't know if this was mentioned before, but Lenny Lipton just published a new book called The Cinema in Flux. And there are several chapters in here. I know David Starkman mentioned it at our board meeting, but I don't know if it was mentioned at last month's meeting.
It's on the website. I'll show you later.
But Lenny, it's a over 800 pages long, and actually I guess it's just short of 800 pages long, 795 pages, and it covers the entire history of the technology behind motion pictures. And there are 4 separate chapters that cover 3D technologies. So it's a very interesting book. If you're into sort of the academic side of 3D and the technology side of it.
Very good. Thank you, Eric. Next, we have Chris Cassidy.
Oh, yeah.
Please come to the podium.
Okay. Is my video on?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Okay. 3D beer. I've got some 3D beer. Has anybody seen 3D beer? Let's say you were making beer and you would add wheat and hops. And maybe you had more than one kind of hops. Maybe you had elixir hops and laurel hops. That would be 2 hops. So you might call it stereohoptic. That's
Oh,
it.
that's great.
You can get stereohoptic beer at your local Trader Joe's.
Lagunitas.
It's a Lagunitas. It's 7 point something.
Did they get bought by Trader Joe's?
Well, no, probably not. They're probably just distributing it, right?
Oh, okay.
7.2 alcohol by
It's
volume.
like all the good ones are taken over and bastardized.
Yeah.
You need to take 2 bottles.
No, there's
You need to
nothing
take
free
2
on the-
bottles.
Yeah, exactly.
Dave Camo's been
Put two-
drinking
put
that
two
all
bo-
night.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is I have a different version. Mine is a different color.
Is that right?
It's Santa Claus.
Really? Different hops, I think.
All right. I'm going to credit.
If you put 2 if you
this, Dave.
if you put 2 bottles if you put 2 bottles on the table and rotate one ever so slightly, you could take a single picture that you could free view.
Indeed, with 1 bottle. Well,
Oh, let me try it.
it's probably better for drinking than anything else, but that was very novel of them, I think. Stereohoptic. That's it. Get your 6-pack today. I don't know how long it'll be available. You better vault one.
Hey, I'm going tomorrow.
Thank you, Curlinder.
Very good. The only other person we have for show and tell is David Richardson.
Hey, I have one, don't I?
Are you on the list? Okay, you'll be last.
All right. So when we were talking about the iPhones and Android phones and that sort of thing, that it dawned on me. It's like, here's my phone on here. But when some of the stuff that I do for work, I need to be able to do things and to be able to share it on the screen in here. And there's a free program that I found called BlueStacks. You just go to bluestacks.com. You can find it. So you just go here. I'll put the link into the chat. But it's a free app in there. When you go there, that it gives you the ability to be able to emulate a phone in here. So if I go in here, for instance, I can go into the Play Store and then I can type in anything that I want. So I can type in, 3D stereo in here for that. And I can actually find those type of things and access those in here. In fact, I've actually loaded that in here. So here is the program. It's right here. It's actually playing on my computer and not on my phone, but I can go in here and use this to be able to emulate just about anything. It's mainly used for gamers to be able to emulate games. I'm using it to be able to demonstrate things for what I do for my day job in there for that. But it actually, I tried it out, loaded it up, and it will take your images from there. And then if you want to be able to see what it would do, that you can actually just run it through there. So it does everything that you could do essentially using an Android phone. But you don't need an Android phone. All you need is essentially just a Google account to be able to do it, just a free Google account, and you're good to go. So that's what I wanted to share. It's a real simple, easy tool.
So it's like Colab?
No, it's not Colab.
This is like Colab?
No.
Oh.
No, what it is that it makes an emulator for your phone. You install it on your, you install it on your computer. So when you install it on the computer, it will run on the computer here, and it will actually go in there and then allow you to be able to create that phone on there. I'll give you an example of what I use it for work. So if I go in here and I go over here, I use it to be able to demonstrate the stuff that I do for the office for my day job. So if I'm looking at that on here, this is the app that I typically use to be able to demonstrate it. And then everything that I'm going to do, if I was using this to be able to, swipe through the phone on there, I can do all of the same things, but I can do them just using my mouse to be able to do that. So it allows that your phone essentially to be on your computer, but that it doesn't actually have to be installed. You don't even have to own an Android phone in order to do it. You can actually just, it's like, oh, I want to see what the Android app would look like. And if you don't own an iPhone, you can actually just go ahead and load this, and then you actually essentially have a virtual Android phone for free to use that for. So it's just a neat little tool.
Can I
David,
do
do
the
you know which
Sinclair?
version of Android it's emulating?
Oh, that's great.
Oh, they update it all the time, so it's pretty up to date for that. I'm not sure exactly which version of Android that it is actually following up. It probably says in the directions, but I don't know. I've been using it for a few years, and they update it about every 3 months or so.
Very good. I'm totally confused, but very good.
Yeah, me too.
Reminds me, it's sort of like the tail wagging the dog. First we had the computer programs, then we had the phone, and we put the computer programs on the phone. Now we're taking the phone programs and putting them on the.
Well, I'll tell you what it's used for.
Because they're better, they're evolving better on the handheld devices.
Yeah, you get a lot of people that are using BlueStacks. They use it to be able to go in and to be able to play games on there. And they find that they actually have better control when they're using a mouse and a keyboard to be able to do that rather than using their phone.
Right.
And you have a larger screen to be able to do that. So that's what it was designed for. But because it actually has access to the actual Google Play Store, it has access to the actual apps, you can load anything on there. So that's what I did. In fact, I loaded the 3D Steroid. I had it in my library in there, but I just loaded that during the meeting. So there it is.
Right. Well, the apps are getting so sophisticated on the handheld devices, iOS and Android, that we're needing the desktop computer less and less. Somebody earlier tonight was saying you don't need Stereo Photo Maker. You can use iSteroid and go straight out, right? Wasn't David saying that? So it's like the software for the iOS and Android is, the market's bigger and it's getting more evolved and it's outstripping what we used to do on the desktop. There's an animation program that used to only run on the desktop. I wouldn't think of having it on an app. Now it's on the app. I just found out. What the hell is it? It's what Flash turned into. It's Adobe. Adobe Animate. Adobe bought Flash, right? And the program that I learned animation with is now been revved, and it's better on the iPad than it is on the desktop. I can throw away my desktop computer. I can now do all that animation on the iPad Pro. It's just an interesting thing to see the evolution of that.
So Steve, you're sharing your screen?
Oh, I was getting ready to. Is it actually showing up?
Well, there's another show and tell.
Oh, are you going to show something? Sorry. Let me just go through this real quick. I'm getting tired. I'm going to probably go to bed, but this is the website I'm putting all the stuff on. And what I've added are these chapters. So you see, if you're not interested in like some of the color picking you're already good at, you just want to go to like the blending options and coloring things, you can do that. So what I'm looking for is if somebody in the club is interested in logging the videos, if they could contact me, and all they need to do is go through and kind of figure out what the chapters would be, send me the time codes. That would be real helpful. So if anybody's interested, contact me directly.
Can you put that in the newsletter?
If I remember.
Very good. Jim Frazier had something to share too. Eric, you gonna take over the hosting, or is?
I thought Lawrence was.
If Steve leaves, if Steve leaves, I'll keep the room open till everyone goes.
So we'll have an after show till about midnight.
It
won't go that long.
This is about 3 seconds. After you drink your 3D beer, you rinse with the 3D white mouthwash. There you go.
Obviously, they go together. Now, what is 3D about that?
I think it's, you know,
I mean,
by the
About
time,
the same as the beer.
yeah, by the time your hype
I
shows
don't
up
think
in
the
a product
person
page,
who showed the 3D beer should be asking about why that
That's
3D
not,
Yeah.
that's not
mouthwash.
what I meant.
the same thing.
That would
I
qualify.
think that's the
no more
pot
than
calling the kettle, whatever the pot.
No, I mean, why did Crest call it 3D? Why is Crest
It's
calling
just
it?
a marketing ploy. The next one will be, you know, augmented reality.
Well, it went with a toothbrush that instead
VR.
of just going like that, it went in 3 dimensions.
No,
It's
it
an
didn't come
electric
with the
toothbrush,
toothbrush.
which I used to have.
Well,
by the way.
there's actually a whole term in dentistry. They use 3D for something dental. I forget what it stands for.
Well, they are
No, I have a 3D toothbrush. It
Oh yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah.
moves in
But
3
I'm saying that
dimensions.
there's a whole thing in dentistry that they call 3D dentistry, and I forget what it stands for, but it's like three things that begin with the letter D. I forget what it is.
Dendrites. Yeah.
Dendrites and something.
But you could drink your 3D beer while you eat
3D Doritos. Yeah.
Doritos.
I think we got to ban this stuff.
False advertising.
Oh, just from the meetings.
Oh, well.
Anything to do with stereoscopy.
It's a novelty.
A few years back, there was a bag of some sort of 3D potato chips that had a picture on the bag of Abraham Lincoln wearing anaglyph glasses.
I got it right here.
Popcorn. Wasn't it popcorn?
Oh, popcorn. It was popcorn. Yes, it was popcorn. There it is.
Speak up so your image pops back.
Here, there we go.
Darn.
16th president.
Is that
folks.
also Trader Joe's?
No, this is this company.
It was from World Market.
Ah, okay.
I think we have an empty bag somewhere.
You should have gone to a 3D movie instead of the play.
Whoops.
Too soon.
Well done.
And
Well done.
on that note,
The play was in 3D.
Well, it is after 9 p.m. Pretty late for our East Coast holdouts. So I can keep the room open if people want to socialize a little more, but what do you say, Steve? Are we officially over? You're muted.
Put a fork in me. I'm done.
Done.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Signing off. Thank you all.